on to the intellectual aspects of both the Mauryan Empire and the Gupta dynasty. Okay, when we last left off, the Mauryan Empire was under political fragmentation. During this, cultural development flourished, including the writing of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The latter includes the famous Bhagavad Gita, which addresses the contradiction between duty to society and duty to one's soul. The Bhagavad Gita suggests that this contradiction can be resolved when one is aware that any form of disciplined action taken without regard for personal benefit is a service to the gods. The period also saw developments in herbal medicine and linguistics. Now we're going to address the intellectual aspects of the Gupta dynasty. Although they exercised theater state and were a bit of a show-off with their lavishly acquired trade items, they were pretty smart. They built high-tower temples in honor of Hindu gods. They created lavish wall paintings and caves dedicated to the gods. An example would be the caves of Ajanta in central India. The growth of Sanskrit as a language was promoted amongst the educated. The discovery of zero as a placeholder and the development of Arabic numerals in the number system used throughout most of the world today was brought from India to the Western world through Arabic caravans. They also developed the decimal system and strengthened trade between East and Southeast Asia. The deterioration in status of women society became increasingly patriarchal. Women gradually lost their right to inherit or own property and were married at a younger age, however. The custom of sati was practiced in some parts of India. Later, this practice is removed by Akbar the Great in the Mughal dynasty. So that's a little negative aspect of the Gupta dynasty there for you. They figured out inoculation against smallpox and sterilization during surgery and the treatment of wounds. They acquired the knowledge of plastic surgery and the setting of bones, and there were advances in astronomy such as the prediction of eclipses and the identification of planets. Classic Hindu temples were built, and they had courtyards, paintings, and sculptures as well.
The Gupta Empire came after the Mauryan Empire, and they were less centralized and smaller than the Mauryan Empire. The Gupta leaders divided their land into provinces and put into power local viceroys. The Gupta leaders actually gave the viceroys a considerable amount of power in their assigned provinces, and were not very concerned about local rule or local governments and rebellion and all that. And the Guptas were generally less organized than the Mauryans, though they created a fantastic and really fair legal system and tried to put courts in cities that were far away from the capital and in more rural dwellings so people could easily get to them, and really tried to guarantee a swift and non-biased trial. The Mauryan Empire was one of the largest land empires to ever exist, and was established by Chandragupta Maurya when he liberated the territory we now call India from the Greeks. Chandragupta Maurya created a civil service for the working class, common currencies across his empire, and kept rule stable and equal by dividing the empire into 4 provinces and putting 4 of his most trusted princes into power. Years later, his grandson Ashoka took the throne. Ashoka is regarded as the most famous king of the Mauryan dynasty, for he declared war and took over Kalinga, but was so changed by his experiences in the battlefield that he chose to live the rest of his life and to direct his empire in the ways of nonviolence, morality, and religious tolerance. He created an important law code that the empire would use for the rest of his existence. The Mauryan political arena was very stable and centralized, leaders doing everything in their power to prevent anarchy, which they regarded as the ultimate evil. Just like the Mauryan Empire, the Gupta Empire had very strict social classes in which a person really couldn't move up or down much. Most social standing was given to men, but women were allowed to pursue certain fields of education and work, such as teaching, healthcare, government work, and art. Sati was very rare, but still took place in rural areas, and women were expected to get married and have children. In their free time, people would gamble on animal fights, wrestle, gamble on wrestling, and do other athletics. They just really liked gambling, apparently. The Mauryan Empire had very strict social classes in which a person couldn't marry, associate, or work outside of their specific social class. Although, compared to other societies around the world at the time,